This video is top 10 examples of transvestigation in the media and just in day-to-day life. And of course, I don't mean that this is the absolute top 10. This is just 10 things that I could think of off the top of my mind, the first 10 things that came to my mind. But there's so many examples. You could make 100 videos just like this and have a different 10 things each time. So here, the first one. This always sticks with me. This is just an interesting story about Oprah that's always stuck with me. Now, Oprah, I couldn't find the first instance where I remember reading this, but I remember reading Oprah talk about Oprah was basically trying to pass it off like, "Oh man, I am so famous. People are so into me. I can't even go to the bathroom without people following me and trying to listen." But if you know about transvestigation, if you know the truth, there's like another reason that it's not that people are so obsessed with Oprah that they have to follow her everywhere. There's something particular about going to the bathroom that they were interested in. And so this bleeds over into real life too. It's not just celebrities, but the point of this story is it's not just that people are so incredibly obsessed with Oprah that they follow her everywhere. There's something particular about Oprah that they would be interested in listening to her go to the bathroom. So, when Oprah Winfrey served on a Chicago jury in 2004, she couldn't go to the bathroom attached to the jury room unless her fellow jurors sang to drown out the noise. I don't know about you, but most women, when they're going to the bathroom, they don't need people outside the door singing to drown out the noise. It's just a more discreet operation. Whereas you think of a big burly dude going into the bathroom and urinating so loudly that people in the other room could hear it. That's the point. That's why Oprah was so, I don't know, particular about the bathroom thing, because she has a very heavy stream. And this isn't just famous people. So, I mean, I'm giving you a reason for why would people sit outside the door trying to listen to Oprah go to the bathroom? Because they're listening to the dude going pee. It sounds different when a dude goes pee. In its extreme form, people become agoraphobic. I know people who never dated, never gotten married. I know one guy who had a master's degree and ran a paper route in the evening, so he knew exactly where a safe bathroom was if he had to go at work. Certain people are very particular about bathrooms and awkward about them, and who knows, maybe they're trying to hide something. I know Larry David talks about peeing with sitting down to go pee, and yeah, so that's what this story. If you don't know about transvestigation, you're probably just thinking, wow, those people really are weird about Oprah and following her everywhere and paparazzi and stuff. But really, for the most part, that stuff is just fake so that you leave celebrities alone. They want you to think, oh, poor celebrities, they're getting bothered all the time. But really, what's going on behind the scenes is a lot of hazing and pranking, and the people who are waiting, trying to get audio of Oprah going to the bathroom, they surely know what they're doing. They surely know what they're looking for, listening for. The second example is a good one from elementary school when they tell you that King Tut had female hips. King Tut had a club foot, feminine hips. And you may just think it's from inbreeding or one of those weird historical things, but for me, this was just one of those factoids that sticks with you. And why? Why does it stick with me? Well, it turns out that this story is just a dime a dozen, where you have some historical figure and they'll talk to you about the bone structure of the person and they'll admit to you that the bone structure of the person was flipped. So it's not a one off thing. I have another example coming up of this exact same scenario. I mean, just look at the feminine pubic mound, the hips, the curviness. Gender inversion is nothing new. It's the basis of alchemy. Now, this is a really good one. So, Princess Diana is a huge psyop, and it's it bleeds over into real life. But they give you the most extreme versions of this on the world stage. The most doodly looking ones, they will illuminate into the spotlight and say, look how gorgeous this person is. Angelina Jolie is terrifying looking and so masculine. So they project that as this pinnacle of beauty. Same thing for Diana. It looks like some dude that they convinced last week to try to be a woman. And so what they do is they make this media sensation out of it and say how elegant they are and how beautiful they are, but it's clearly a dude in a wig. I don't know, maybe it's that person's real hair. It looks like wigs with these crazy hairstyles. But right, it looks like a drag queen. What is different? If you saw that downtown on in Portland or something, you would just assume that's somebody in drag. Same with this. It's drag, man. But what is most important about this is that it bleeds over into real life. You will see instances of this everywhere, including in the transvestigation community itself, where it's kind of part of the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil pact that these people have going on, but it's like worse than that because it's not even that they're just not pointing out the obvious, this is a trans. They're promoting it and trying to say that it's the best thing ever. It's the most beautiful, even though they know that Diana is whack and looks busted. They try to pretend that it's the hottest thing. It's Emperor has no clothes. And when I say this bleeds over into real life, what I mean by that is in real life, the people that look like Princess Diana are showered in unfounded compliments. And natural women will not get the same treatment at all. If if a busted looking MTF does anything, their supporters will be in the comments saying, "Oh, you're so beautiful." Do you guys remember this in the transvestigation community where there will be a channel and they'll be making videos, okay, and then they show themselves all of a sudden, and you're like, wow, okay, that's an invert making transvestigation videos. All of a sudden, boom, comments are full of, wow, you're gorgeous, you're so beautiful. That's how these people operate. They see one another, they fluff one another up like nobody's business, even though they're all doodly looking. They recognize one another and they promote it as being the greatest. And it's clearly not. What? Come on. Okay? You see that thing at a club, you know it's swinging dong. Moving on. Jamie Lee Curtis is a hermaphrodite. I can't even find the video of this where I think it was what's his name? The radio guy, the Jewy guy. Howard Stern. Oh, and notice the date of birth for Jamie Lee Curtis is a 33. November 22nd, 11/22. So that's a 33. A big illuminated individual, JC initials. Maybe a hermaphrodite. I don't know. There's certainly rumors of it. But it's funny that Hollywood is full of this kind of rumor, hermaphrodite rumors. The Friends episode. Friends, it's all about that episode where there's the rumors of Traniston being a hermaphrodite. Being a hermaphrodite is extremely rare, and in cases where it does happen, these people probably are exploited by the system because it's like an alchemical perfection. For these people, of course, I don't believe in this stuff, but I'll read comments of people that they talk about how, yeah, transgenders being a perfect in their mind mixture of male and female. They think of those people of having like spiritual bonuses, like they're spiritual magnets for mostly demons these days. And anyways, but I mean, there's probably a reason why eunuchs would work in temples and in places like that. Maybe they do. Maybe there is a grain of truth to it, but anything that they do today is going to be heavily corrupted, and you can just tell by the way these people act they're not doing good stuff. They're not using their talents, if they have any, to do good stuff. They're talking about lip gloss and shoes. And that kind of goes back to this thing. The most castrati just get programmed to care about nothing but their looks, and it's kind of sad because honestly they don't look good. They're really chasing after this third. The entire media promotes transgenderism as the pinnacle of beauty, and I think that's the whole idea behind people who are like, oh, beauty is in the eye of the beholder and stuff, because people have been so duped that they've been able to heavily promote these ideas of beauty that are not founded in reality. It's a fantasy. Okay, yeah, there's a video of Howard Stern, but I can't find it. A lot of this stuff gets scrubbed from the internet. It's crazy. Where a reporter goes up and they pretend to be giving a normal interview to Jamie Lee Curtis, and then out of nowhere they're like, "Oh, so are you a hermaphrodite?" And the reason that clip is so interesting, and I can't find it, so it kind of sucks, but the way that Jamie reacts, just the name too, Jamie is ambiguous, gender ambiguous. The way Jamie reacts is so telling, because you see like a light bulb switch, and it's like, oh, I'm acting now. And Jamie puts on the biggest, how dare you response to it. So Howard Stern obviously everybody in Hollywood knows. Everybody knows. And some jokesters, people like Howard Stern, they're the modern day jokester. What do you call it? The person in the court that's allowed to make fun of the king. Jester. It's like they're playing the part of the jester. They're allowed to make fun of the things that everybody else is hush hush about. And since they're just a clown, people won't take them seriously. So anyways, you see some, sorry I don't have the clip here, but Jamie Lee Curtis does some great, how dare you? And it's instances like this where you'll realize that people in real life, they pick up on this and they learn. There's a reason that most inverted people who know about it are very interested in the media, and they're obsessed with constantly watching TV and that stuff, because they pick up from it. They learn how to act. So if somebody says that you look like a man, how dare you? The how dare you response. Moving on, I said that there was another example of this in the media where they will tell you that the bones are flipped. Amelia Earhart. When Amelia Earhart's bones, so this is kind of a recent development. They've recently been reanalyzing these bones, and they're like, they might be Amelia Earhart's. So let me just read this part. The bones in question were originally dismissed by a researcher as male remains. And isn't that how human anatomy works? You find a bunch of bones and you can tell the sex by looking at the bones. That is just a huge aspect of transvestigation, is that archaeology. It's a well-known archaeological fact that bone structure is an indication of gender. And what do you know? When it's just bones, intersex doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of flesh sex organ these people had by the time they've been reduced to bones. So it's a deeper truth of who these people really were when they say their bones were male, but on the world stage they were playing a female. What were they deep down? Norman Bates is just another good example. So in my opinion, what makes Norman Bates such an interesting example is how far out of his way Hitchcock went to try to keep the punchline a secret. To me, that's the big takeaway from this, is if you read into the history of this, he got the idea from a book, and apparently Hitchcock went out and just like bought up all of that book so that nobody could even get their hands on the book to figure out the ending. It's kind of funny too, because it's like the oldest trick in the book. It's a dude in a dress. But another thing that from this movie, did this strike anyone in the movie? In the movie, there's this scene where they focus so much. It's honestly a really good movie. Very well. The cinematography is It was very good. And there's one scene in particular where they're focusing on the neck of this person. You see these? It's because the neck is a tell. It's a big tell. If you go look at the old glamour shots, the old Hollywood glamour shots, they're always casting a shadow over the neck. The neck is a big tell. Punchline. It's a dude. The 1933. Wow, that number. What a year. 1933, the book burnings. So the big thing about this is, and it's all coming out now. This is all the smearing of people as being neo-Nazis. Oh, right-wingers are neo-Nazis. They're trying to repeat history again and smear those who are against the type of degeneracy that's being pushed today as being Nazis. But they'll never tell you in school what the books were burning, what books were actually being burned by the Nazis. And a lot of it had to do with transgenderism. Look at this hand sign too. Okay, hand signs. So they'll be quick to tell you that the Nazis were burning books. What they won't tell you, and the eternal victims, the Jews, will be quick to say, oh, they were persecuting us because we were Jewish. They won't tell you what books they were burning and what types of Jewish literature was being pushed. It was books on homosexuality and transgenderism, which, when you learn about transvestigation, that stuff doesn't bug you as much, but you understand why they were trying to hide it, and you understand there really is, you almost, it makes sense why people buy so much into the red versus blue paradigm. They really are at war with one another. Team Blue, the liberals, they want all this stuff out. They want all the transgenderism stuff to be out in the open, but they won't, in a way, so that people are still deceived. Whereas the Red Lodge is more keeping it under closed doors, keeping it the way that things were. Red Lodge keeps things going the way that they already are. Blue Lodge creates new things and takes steps in the further direction, furthering their agenda. And the pendulum swings back and forth at different parts of history. So there was something in here that was, let me just read through here really quick. Oh, among the authors whose works were burned was Helen Keller. Helen Keller is the biggest hoax. Helen Keller is a fraud. There are so many people that present themselves as being disabled that are not disabled. I just read something the other day about how Helen Keller allegedly flew a plane. So dumb. Okay, they say that the plane was already in the air and that she just took controls, and of course they're going to be trans too. But anyways, I just thought it was interesting that Helen Keller books were burned. These people, so much. These people, they make so much progress off of outrage and virtue signaling and claiming to be better than other people. It takes me straight back to the Bible, the Sadducees and the Pharisees. It's nothing different today. These people, they parade around like they're the most holy, but the more you look into it, you can see what really was going on. Anyways, yeah, Helen Keller is a hoax, but if you try to tell people that, they'll just be outraged at you. And I think Helen Keller's an obvious hoax. Like, what's more likely, that somebody is so extremely gifted and amazing, or that somebody's trying to pull the wool over your eyes? Moving on, Ann Coulter. I had a really hard time. Man, Google is terrible these days. I had a hard time finding the original for this too. Ann Coulter has said before, I'm gonna sue anybody who tries to say I'm trans. And I had a hard time finding the original of that, but I know it's true. And look at this, guilty. They'll tell you. Why do you think they guilty? Yeah, you're guilty. This might be one of my last things. We're getting to the end. This is more of an everyday trans thing. Look at the shoulders. Look at the shoulders when all I did was look up clothing. Why does the alleged male clothing model have sloped shoulders and the alleged female clothing model on the right has completely flat, ginormous shoulders? Come here, look, they're way bigger. Which one has longer arms? Which one has the arms that hang straight down? Which one has the arms that angle away from the body naturally? Do you know why women's arms angle away from the body naturally? Because they have hips, and so that their arms hang away from their hips. Men don't have hips, that's why their arms hang straight down. Free Martins have the type of body on the left, even though they have a penis. That's it. But it's one of the biggest parts of transvestigation. If you aren't gender inverted, you'll notice that clothes don't fit you. It's because clothes aren't made for you. Clothes are made for inverted bodies. I'm not a big dude, and shirts don't fit me because if I lift my arms, the shirt rises up and shows my belly because I have a very long torso. And women, pants never fit natural women, right? It's a huge struggle. But anyways, this is just a big topic, and it's certainly one of top 10 in my opinion. Just clothing does not fit you if you don't have a particular skeleton. And that kind of goes into the, hey, if everybody's all shapes and sizes, why are men's shirts so short, but then women's shorts are so long, even though that is the opposite of what normal human anatomy should be? A lot of this stuff is very gate kept. For instance, pants. Oh my goodness. Pants for alleged men have such long legs. It's crazy. Men are not supposed to be leggy. Why is it called a daddy long leg? Long legs are a female trait. Well, it's one of the biggest. It's impossible for me to find jeans where there aren't like 3 inches of extra space at the bottom that go underneath my shoes. Clothing sizes, how vanity size. It's not about vanity. Shopping is just impossible if you don't have an inverted skeleton because clothes aren't made for you. But another thing that goes into this is just fashion. Oh, that's big. Fashion. The entire fashion industry is made for these people, and shows like What Not to Wear, shows like What Not to Wear are made for people with inverted skeletons to teach them how to dress correctly. Have you ever noticed that a lot of, skinny, screechy, alleged women, it looks like they're wearing their pants up super high. It's like, why are you wearing that up so high? They need to create the illusion of a waistline. They'll wrap a belt around their rib cage to try to create the illusion of a waistline. They'll wear a teeny tiny little cardigan on the top to try to make their shoulders not look massive. They'll wear 50 frills and bows all over the place to distract you. So just fashion in general is for the inverts. Fashion is for the inverts. Why do you think clergy often hide their necks? To bring it back to earlier, I was saying the neck. The neck is a tell. And the neck is actually one of those tells where they invert it and the castrati play it to their advantage. Castrati are taught that long necks are elegant and to always hold their head up high. And it's to create that division between natural woman and castrati and to promote this other thing. And in that way, you can't see the forest for the trees, and they'll brainwash natural women into thinking that they're lesser because they don't look like castrati. Look, hold your head up. Hold your head up, dude. That long neck is elegant. That's what they tell them. Well, that's it for this video. This stuff is nothing new. This is what the Nazis were burning. Stuff on this. Hope you enjoyed the video. God bless everyone. Okay, I almost forgot this one. So for anyone who was counting topics, to make it a true top 10, this is the last topic, but it's almost like too obvious to even need to be mentioned. Just look around you today at how many people are tuning out. And, okay, being a little silly with it here, and I don't mean to be condescending about it or anything, but the state of the world today, all the they them pronouns, all all the people that, yes, are living as a separate gender now, I actually don't have a problem with it. If Free Martin wants to live as a woman, I don't care. However, it shows you where you live. If if you don't understand transvestigation, if you're totally asleep, you will just be, your mind should be totally going crazy trying to figure out, why is this trans thing so big? It should just be like a very minor part of existence. Trans should be something affecting almost nobody, and almost nobody should care about it, and yet it's like the biggest topic today. So the slippery slope of just the trans thing in general should tell you where you live. If you weren't surrounded by people where the trans topic hit so close to home, it wouldn't be a major focus in the media. It wouldn't be something that they're trying to indoctrinate young children into doing. So it's just that now they're being open about it. And you can see they tried to do this before in 1933, but they got shut down. It wasn't time yet to totally come out of the bag yet. So what, they got like 100 more years of hush hush, but I don't think there's any stopping this one. God bless everyone.